All right, Dragon Con, Friday afternoon. How are my nerds doing out there? That was good, but it wasn't great. Come on, it's Dragon Con. I hold you guys in high esteem. Out of all the cons I do, you guys are the crazy, crazy crowd. So, Dragon Con, are you ready for the Once Upon a Time panel? There you go. That's much better. Well, my name's Aaron Sagers. I'm going to be the host for the next couple of minutes, not hours. There's going to be a microphone floating around. You're going to ask some questions. I just kindly ask, keep it to one question per person so we can get through as many questions as possible. Keep it nice and polite, and no special requests. And also, I love you, Dragon Con. I love you so much. But don't get too weird on me, all right? Don't get too weird. Weird, but not too weird. And also, what else? Yeah, break out those cell phones, man. Tweet, Vine, Facebook, no flash photography, but do all that stuff and make all your friends at home jealous that they are not here for the Once Upon a Time panel. Talk about this stuff. All right, without further ado, I'm looking out there. I see a couple Once Upon a Time cosplayers, so you better be cheering a lot. I expect a lot out of you guys. Without further ado, let me bring these lovely ladies out. Of course you know her as Ursela from Once Upon a Time. Please, Dragon Con, show your love for Ms. Merrin Dungey! Make some noise! There you go. Actually, I don't know how they said it. Yeah, just sit anywhere. I'm sure it's fine. All right, keep it going. I didn't say stop. You keep cheering. Of course, coming out next, of course, you know where's Cruella De Ville from Once Upon a Time. Miss Victoria Smurfit! Keep it going strong. Really, come on, make some noise. 1% Kristin Bauer!
Just confirm this is gin, darling. Because if it's not, I'm going.
It really would make panels much more exciting if we had a wet bar here up front. Yeah. This is a very low chair here, so I'm going to just move that up a bit.
I'm going to start taking notes, just in case there's something.
I like the boardroom vibe of this. I feel like at any moment one of you could fire me from this gig, and I would be asked to leave. But I feel very lucky, very awesome sitting here with three lovely ladies. Thank you so much for joining us for Dragon Con. I know they're all very excited about it. You know, before I throw it to the audience, let me just ask, you know, each of you as actors, you have to take on these iconic characters that are already so well known, that are already so much a part of popular culture, part of the popular consciousness, really, of all of us. So was that really a challenge for you to enter into these roles that people already knew and then imbue them with sort of this new, fresh take? Was that a challenge, or was that very, like, cool, exciting, refreshing kind of gig for you, or what?
Well, it's the boys do that. Adam and Eddie do that for you. They put it down on the script and they give the new spin on it for you. It's just, personally, I find it quite enormously terrifying. Sort of day one, you turn up on set and there's Jennifer Goodwin and Mr. Charming and oh look, there's Robert Carlyle. Okay, hold it together. So you're dealing with that element of it, and you know, personally, the idea of trying to take over from Glenn Close for a character is mind-boggling. And instead of shooting myself in the head, I decided not to watch it. That was my take. I had two options. I went for the not watching the movie. So no, it's scary, but once you throw yourself into the black hole and you put your first scene down, and we were all together for the first scene, so we were
That's
all
not true.
clinging.
That's not true.
We were.
We were together in that one crazy scene when none of us knew what the fuck we were doing. Excuse my language. But
I didn't know.
No, but
my very first scene,
was with Robert Carlyle.
Oh, that's true. You
in
did
the
fish
aquarium. I did the fish acting.
Yeah, that's true.
And like even when like we drove, like we're driving over in the car, and like he's sitting in front of me, and I'm sitting in the back, and I just don't want to say anything because I want to like tap him, And then we get out of the car, and then he's like, oh hi, and he couldn't have been nicer, Like he's like, why are you like not saying hello? But I think it was harder going in, and the first scene being the Ursela in Storybrooke.
Right.
Or New York at the time. I was in New York, being the not, glammed up, fantasy version of
You
that.
rocked those overalls, don't you?
And because what I did to prepare, because I'm not a cartoon, and no one has ever done Ursela like Glenn Close had done.
Yeah.
I just was trying to get the intonation and the voice, but even still, I was way too big. Like the first take, it's just like I'm, totally doing. And they're like, you're gonna have to turn that down. So it's, and that's the thing with coming in. It's like, let the story speak for itself. Let the costume speak for you. It's already so big. Just play it as if you were playing a scene in CSI. It's still. You still have an intention. You still have something that you want.
CSI Storybrooke. There's something in it.
Maybe with less bodies, I'm guessing, but maybe
infinitely more bodies, darling. As long as they're not mine all the time.
More interesting costumes, for sure.
Yeah, I think, I liken it often to jumping out of a plane because everything, you get the role and then it's a couple weeks ahead of time and then you go to a wardrobe fitting and then there's the flying in. We shoot in Vancouver, and then you meet other people, and there's all this build-up, and it's just living in your head. And then once, it's also like sports. Like once you hear the ref blow the whistle, and you've begun, you find the rhythm. But it's a little clunky, at least in our own heads. And I would see these ladies. Vic would say, oh my God, I'm chewing up the scenery here, and she wasn't. She was brilliant. But in our minds, we're kind of freaked out. And then as you go, you start to find some stability with the characters that you're opposite and your dialogue. And you do literally find the voice, and then you can start to play. But at first, jumping out of that airplane, everything as the plane is climbing up, you're like, this is a bad idea. This plane could crash. Where's the parachute? Why do I do this for a living? This is horrible.
Yeah.
And then you jump and you're like, wow, there's no sensation of falling. This is amazing. Oh my God, I'm gonna live, So.
And there's also no like the great news is once it's up and running and you're getting this response from the fans, that's the most rewarding thing, to see that what you've put into it is being received. And and I think for me the hardest thing is the magical element of it. Like when you have to like poof from one place to the other, you had to do a lot of poofing. And then I had these tentacles, and like if you go back and rewatch that first episode where we show up, and I want to use my hands like all the time. I want to like put your hands down. You don't use your hands, and I'm like, what do you mean? And it's like if I'd only known how amazing that was going to look with the tentacles,
right.
I would have,
I just had to negotiate really bad breath. Yes, which came shockingly easily.
It's not true.
It's very lovely.
I don't know if you shoot an episode sort of in a linear fashion, but is it difficult to think, okay, which version of the character am I at this moment? I mean, obviously the clothes really are part of that, the costumes are, but otherwise it's like, okay, I'm Storybrooke me, I'm more fairy tale me, I'm that kind of angle?
It's more kind of, I don't remember that being challenging. I think with the action sequences when we're in a green room and you don't have a lot of set and it's broken up, you're like, wait a minute. So, hold on, did we come through the insect door? Okay, so hold on, do I know that Rumple's going to double cross? Like, what part of this sequence are we in? And then it's that same thing as we started you know, getting to know the directors that you just go, oh, screw it, tell me where to stand and what to say, because you realize that they're keeping an eye out and they're going to come in and tell you there's more at stake here, you know, or dial it down or up.
Right.
We were doing that Cherbox scene.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're running around and they're like, Kristin, no, you just fell off the cliff. Like, you don't just, that's all in a green room and you can't, so then you have to go and look on the monitor and then they show, you're like looking at the video game of like, that's where you are, and then like watching us like doing this. And what are we looking at and where is it coming from? And, and it's there, like, it's a beast and it looks like this and you have to, you know, like,
And one of us is looking there and one's looking there and I'm like, where are you looking? You know.
They gave us a tennis ball at the end of a stick at one point.
a tennis ball at the stick that we have to be like,
Because her leadership over here would turn into a dragon every now and again, and she was a tall dragon. And I remember one of my favorite scenes with Chris was when she turns up on set. We're up at the Enchanted Forest, and she turns into the dragon. I'm like, oh, I really wanted you to do that, darling. And then I send her to sleep because I have power with my bad breath. And so Chris comes in, does 2 lines. She's like, I'm gonna go to my trailer now. I think I'm gonna have some like apple tea.
Is there a latte track?
Meanwhile, I'm there with a tennis ball and a stick and a wind machine.
right. No, but how about when we had that time when we had to go into when we got sent into the time tunnel or whatever that was?
The portal.
The portal. And it's pouring down rain. We're in the full crazy hair and makeup. The wind machines are as big as that screen.
Yeah, they're
giant. And so you're running in mud, in that gown, in the wind machines, you know, and then you have to like kind of like fly off. And it's all gonna look fine because they're gonna like CGI it and whip you into like a little like, but you are feeling like such a tit.
It's just like you're just 6 again, aren't you?
And you have sticks in your hair. But you know, like, you don't get to, like on a CSI, you don't get to go, dragon! Okay, then dragon to the light! And then dragon goes, you know, like that's like a cool thing. It was like, it was really getting to use your imagination.
Yeah.
Have we answered any questions?
I don't know, because part of me is just thinking, I really hope people start making GIFs of all these gestures that are taking place on set. There's a lot of animated BuzzFeed GIFs out there waiting to
I'm gonna
happen.
stop moving.
Let's go ahead and take a question from the audience. I don't know where the magical floating mic is. Oh wait, magical floating mic is back there. It's waving. Hi.
Going in, how much background were you given on your character?
That's a good question.
And how did that affect your preparation for the act?
That's a fair question about what kind of background you got going in and just sort of how it affected your preparation.
I had a cartoon.
Well, they don't tell you, like, we didn't get our backstories until later because they didn't want to, like, they didn't want you to give it away.
And Adam needed to tell me we were going to go to Jazz Era, which I thought was very cool.
They kind of give you a flavor.
Yeah, they gave me, but other than that, you've got what's on the page really, and what's in the Disney annals really. That's what you're running on, and the words they put down on the page.
But we did have a big meeting with John and Amiel, who did that first big episode, and we had like a big breakfast that day. We had like like the first day we all hung out was like a 12-hour day. It was crazy and it's incredible. But we just hanging out and talking and figuring stuff out, and he kind of helped shape who we were and where we were. And Chris, you've done the show too, so you kind of had a thing.
Yeah.
You had a head start. She had a head start.
I kind of cheated. Yeah, it did help a little bit, you know, because I'd been on the set and I met Lana and Josh, and so I kind of knew where I was going. That helps a little bit, you know. It's a new school, you know, it's that feeling, and I didn't have that feeling. And I knew the camera people and stuff, but
and you knew me.
And that was so awesome because we've known each other for 20 years, and I didn't know that she was going to be playing Ursela, and so she walked
doesn't
in
read
the
the
trailer.
script. She doesn't read who the guest stars were.
I paid very little attention to.
I walk in the trailer and she's like, "Oh my God, what are you doing here?" And I was like, "Well, I'm gonna
be working with you a lot. Yeah. I was like, that's so cool. I kind of just learned my lines for the next day. Let everyone else worry about everything. And then it's such an awesome surprise. You know?
There you go. Another question?
This is for Kristin. Hey girl.
Hello.
So we all know Pam is the baddest of the bad.
Right.
Do you ever draw any inspiration for your character on Once Upon a Time for her?
You know, I was a little worried about when the first season, when I did those 2 scenes, because I was shooting True Blood on the week, and then I went up there for the weekend, and that was a very fast thing that happened. And my agent called and said, do you want to play Maleficent? And I was like, who's that? Because the movie hadn't come out yet, and I was like, wait, the green lady with the horns? Because I'm, remembering back to being 8. And I was like, yeah, cool. And then flew up, they put the costume on me and said, oh my God, we're glad it fit. Shoved me into this green room. I said hi to Lana. The show wasn't on the air yet or something, or I hadn't seen it. And my concern was that she would be different than Pam, because it would be easy to kind of just fall into that evil voice, tough woman. So that was challenging for me to make her different on the day. I remember continually not letting my voice become Pam. And I'd have to go, ooh, go a little high. Well, where are you?
Well, that little slow draw.
Yeah.
That's like everything.
I know, the
Everything.
Pam draw was everything for Pam.
Merrin used to endlessly ask her to do her Maleficent lines as Pam.
All the time.
Yeah.
But it would be so great because you have that staff and you'd be like this, like for Maleficent, they also you just go.
And what's great is I was very sentimental about True Blood ending. And Merrin is a True Blood fan, so she was very patient about me telling every story.
I would be like, more.
And then she was like, more, and I'd be like, okay. And so one time, Alex did this, and then I'm
Alex,
and then
by the way. Just Alex.
So it was really, there was a lot of Pam between cut and action, as opposed to between action and cut.
Was there any slips though, while you were rolling? Anytime you slipped into Pam?
We had that one scene where the director wanted Lana and I to rev it up and be a little more intense.
We had to reshoot. That was a reshoot because we'd done it and then it didn't look right. And we had to cut it. That tete-a-tete in Granny's Diner.
Granny's Diner, when we show up, I can't remember, you guys have been in Storybrooke, but when I show up in Storybrooke and the 3 of us are in Granny's Diner, we had shot that scene, it was too long or whatever, and so they had us redo it, and they wanted both of us more intense, so they whispered in Lana's ear and my ear to go downtown, like swear at each other. So we were like, I don't know, I can't see with the lights, so if there's kids in here, sorry. But we listen, you fucking bitch. We just went at each other. And then she goes, do it as Pam, do it as Pam. So then I just went at her and it was
Lana went Puerto Rican. It was
and Lana's
best
Puerto Rican.
She got to the streets with that.
Yeah, she went to the streets. There wasn't a second, because she didn't know that I was going to do that. And there wasn't a quarter of a second of what's happening. It was like, oh.
It's on, bitch.
You want some of this? It was amazing.
Her eyes just went, it's shit. And she just went, Rican, straight. It was amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. All right, microphones. There you are, over there on the left.
Hello. So now that you have seen how your characters progress, because Once Upon a Time is famous for messing with stories, and you see kind of how your characters end up. I think Cruella really had almost the quote-unquote purest story arc as far as remaining a villain. But how do you think of how your characters kind of ended up at the end?
Well, I did try. I did attempt during ADR, where you're looping, you're adding any dialogue or anything that's been missed later on in the studio. When we came to do the scene where Jen blasted me off the side of the cliff, I had to do my scream falling. So I just went, ah! damn bloody fez. But sadly, they didn't keep it, and I had to die in my rubbishy coffin. But I did make an attempt to survive.
I thought my story was really cool. I love the way that they did it. I just wish it didn't happen so quickly in the story. I was really, bummed because we had so much fun, and I thought there was just so much more evil that we could have gotten into.
Spin-off.
Yeah, it was a beautiful tie-in, and everyone I've met has been like very satisfied with where it went. So I think that they did it beautifully. It just was too quick.
Yeah, and I didn't know that they were gonna. We really didn't know. I don't think any of us really knew anything of where it was going. We would run into Adam and Eddie on the set sometimes, and every once in a while, Eddie would be like, "Oh my God, what we have coming up for you." So, okay, so you're gonna, and we would get pieces of information randomly. Like when I was playing that, found out that I had a daughter who was gone and presumably dead. He goes, right before doing that sad crying bit, he goes, "But she might not be dead. Anyway, whatever." I was like, "Oh, what?" And in my mind, I had to keep I'd pretend he didn't say anything. So I was very happy to see that we all had these incredible arcs. We had no idea that would happen.
Adam comes up and goes, it was Eddie, he was like, "You've got something with Hook," and I was like, "Really?" All right. It wasn't what I had planned. Live and learn.
All right, I want to first of all say thank you, ladies, for coming to Dragon Con. It's really great that you're here. My question is for Victoria. I've heard in interviews Adam and Eddie say one of the premises of the show is that evil is made, not born. And we saw kind of gorgeous stories that made Maleficent and Ursela a little more sympathetic. Cruella came across to me as a little bit more of just a straight sociopath.
Yes.
So I was curious to know how you feel that her story fits into that overall theme.
Oh, I loved it, because the boys they said, "We've never done this before, but you are the bad seed." And I thought, oh, I love it. And it's bittersweet because you're reading the episode and the script was so good and so clever, and I got to go back and be innocent Cruella and mess with your mind for a minute that you think I'm locked in an attic for forever, but actually and bad-noting mummy, and then they turned it on its head. And I kind of take a secret pride that she was unrepentantly evil. And when she turns to this one and says, "I'm just a really terrible person, darling," she's being very honest here. She's being very straightforward. And I love that I'm the one rotten apple in the bunch that just gets no good side bar her clothes, let's be honest. I quite like that. I mean, the bittersweet being, of course, you're unrepentantly evil and you're a sociopath, you must die. But she was great fun up to that point. We had an episode with the Turnabog, actually, where it was supposed to pluck out the most evil of the three of us, and it plucked out Maleficent. And later I thought, hang on a bloody second. Hang on. I'm the very dodgy one.
Yeah. You didn't know that then.
We didn't know that then, but it was
apparently.
Yeah, which is really interesting, and because they work at such an extraordinary rate that the scripts are coming out. I mean, their minds are so creative. They're often they're making their magic. And no, I was thrilled to bits to be a sociopath.
That's my favorite episode of the year. I thought it was so good.
Oh, bless you! I just loved it. It's nothing like making a nice.
Should have maybe showed up at some point to cry about you dying.
I know you didn't turn up for my funeral or anything.
I know, it's rude.
Rude.
Hi.
This is actually for Victoria, again, feeding off the last question. When you were back playing that innocent Cruella, how did you feel about that? Did you kind of see that coming, or was it, because to me it was a huge shock whenever they turned it on its head like that. And I wasn't as shocked by the other backstories, but yours was the one that really stuck with me as a kicker. Did you feel that way as well?
Well, it was certainly a challenge for the makeup department. I'm pretty sure making me look young took longer than putting Cruella's face on. But it was a really freeing experience, because out of the coats and the layers of armor that she had, with the makeup and the wig and the diamonds and the furs and the heels and the leathers, and then to strip all that back and be in the flapper dress and with the author and just seeing her sort of what you then realize is a Machiavellian, sociopathic kind of way of getting what you want out of the person in front of you, and being able to play that with the delicious Patrick Fischler was just such a joy, because she was sort of free and dancing, and she always wanted to be, because she genuinely hadn't been allowed out of the attic, because every time she did, she'd kill her mother's husband. Which was tricky, made the household hard to run. So I find it very freeing. It was lovely, and then just to chip away at the steps to getting her to don't worry about the dogs, darling. They're with mother now. It was fun, a lot of fun, and I was really nervous about taking that script and wanting to make sure that I got that transition correctly.
Cool. Thank you.
So I would estimate between the three of you interact with most of the members of the show. The question I had was, in all the shows, there's always that person that is slightly off. They're either the prankster, they're the one that is crazy to work with. So the question I have is, in this cast, who is the craziest to work with?
Josh. It's gotta be Josh.
He's Josh. He's so funny.
But he's sweet funny. He's not he's not tricking you. He's
he's absolutely hilarious and witty and adorable and prankster.
Yeah.
Well, Colin.
Oh, I didn't do scenes with Colin.
Oh, he kept singing to you, didn't he?
He is trouble.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, because Josh is just, they're all great to work with, and Josh is just sweet and fun and funny. But Colin is got that Irish little devil in him.
I don't know what you're talking about at all.
And there was that day that we were about to do this major scene where I had to do a big speech. I think it was during that whole thing with the gun and the 8 arms and the blah 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 blah. And I'm prepping for it. He keeps running, all of a sudden he'll just sidle up and be film, please. And I was absolutely. And I literally had to run and hide on the set, and because it was driving me mental. He thought it was the funniest thing. And then subsequently the next day we're out in some forest, as you are on the show. And then I got to set and everyone's hey Merrin, and then 15 crew members are all of that. And I finally get it, because the first day that we worked together he wasn't feeling well. We were out on that dock in the freezing cold all day, and then at the end of the day he's sorry, I haven't been feeling feeling very well, so you'll see me the next time. And because he was really sweet, but he just wasn't a prankster. So then it all kicked off, and he was crazy. So
well, when you're on a major network show and you're putting out 22 episodes a year, this big batch of episodes, overall, is it maintained this upbeat energy and creative energy throughout the entire run, at least with the episodes that you guys filmed?
Yeah.
I have to say that the major players who are there all the time, your Lana, your Jenny, your Ginny, they're always bringing a coffee truck. There's always a Starbucks run. There's always we're ordering from the sushi place. Do you guys want? There's always a way of taking care of their crew, taking care of their fellow cast members, because you're working long hours, and to know that there's and I know that sounds crazy, but a special coffee truck coming in at when you're doing an all-nighter on Friday at coming in at midnight is a treat, and they're making these. It just that makes the difference. It keeps this well-oiled machine running, and everyone feels really looked after.
Yeah. Do you guys agree with that?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, and that crew is pretty well-oiled. They've been together for quite a while, and we have the same thing on True Blood. It just is this machine that you go into that works really well, and the cast doing those lovely things and taking care of the guest cast is really huge, because each set is a little different. And for example, on Once, they do something that we didn't do on True Blood. Like, we had 6 hours after crew call was mealtime. And if we were going to go over to get a shot, even 5 minutes, it would be announced. We're going into Grace in 10 minutes. Lunch will be in 10 minutes, you know. And on Once, they'll go over 3 hours and no one will say anything, and it's just how they do it. They would just want to finish up that scene. So before you know it, it's been 9 hours since you ate, and Lana would come over to me and she had brought food or would have ordered food and say, eat this, it's been 7 hours, you know. And that was such a huge, kind gesture, but also you start fading hard if you go 14 hours and you haven't hit your meal times. And she just knew that about that set. So it's really lovely when people take care of you like that.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're over there.
Hi. I got a question for all of y'all. First, Once Upon a Time is like my ultimate favorite show. Mm-hmm. And my question is, I know, Cruella, your character kind of did kick the bucket, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But are any of the other two going to be maybe make an appearance for the Black Swan?
We don't know.
I don't know.
I know, we don't know, and also I died 2 or 3 times, so death isn't even,
Yeah.
right? I was like gutted, cremated, and
Yeah, we brought you back to life with some
No
blood
worries.
and like a little bit of salt. Or something.
yeah,
There's
totally.
no such thing as dead on,
Yeah,
on
there
these
really-
shows. Yeah.
There really isn't.
No death, no real happy endings.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, who knows?
But we don't know, you know, and I'm not sure that the writers may know what their whole season is going to be. So yeah.
And even if we did know, we'd be strung up by our toenails
Yeah.
if we told you.
Yes.
So I'm sorry.
Yeah. So we don't know, but we could know.
There's a Disney sniper that travels around with that. They'll just take him right out. But isn't the joy of, you know, watching and being surprised and finding out as a fan, that's like more fun, isn't it? She's like, no, I wrote this.
I'm gonna show up in episode 517, and then I'm gonna. You don't want to know that. Like you wouldn't want to know.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to know.
So Merrin is saying episode 517 is when she returns. It's official.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, wouldn't you be more excited if there was a surprise? All I'm saying.
Hi, ladies. First of all, I admire all of you so very much. Your unique characterizations are just outstanding. My question was kind of just asked, so I'll ask a different kind of question. Kristin, with Maleficent, I want to know, would you like to see her kind of go down the path that Regina did with like redemption and really trying to make yourself whole and good again with the return of Lily? Or would you be more interested in kind of going back to that, just back into the darkness for a little while?
I felt like I did such a big arc from the evil that we thought she was, cold-hearted to so sensitive. I'd like to go back again to the evil. Mm-hmm. I think that to pull that off would be kind of cool. And to have, obviously that'd be a writing thing where they would make that make sense, that my daughter and I, because my daughter so badly wanted to actually know the evil Maleficent, that I think it would be kind of fun and make sense that she would go back into dragon bitch mode to protect her daughter.
Well, how much fun did Lana have when she went back? I mean, like when
Yes.
we showed up, it was like
Yes.
she was like, I get to play this year. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
she was happy.
She was ready to go.
Yeah, totally.
She was ready to get.
And
her.
also, J-Mo was so excited for being the Dark Swan. So it's fun to go back and forth.
Cool.
It's gonna be a great season. I mean, I'm psyched.
Yeah.
Are you psyched? It's gonna be
Totally.
awesome. Are you guys psyched for the
Yeah.
new season?
Awesome.
Gorgeous. That poster with their like swan eyes. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Gives me the chills.
Yes.
So Victoria told me to come up with a good question for this. What did you guys take away from the show after you all left the very
Nothing. I didn't take the furs. I didn't take the diamonds. I promise you. I didn't take anything. I didn't take the car. Sorry. Let me take that seriously. Go again. Can't see you. What did we take away personally?
From the journey.
Friendships.
Yeah, more
Really
than
nice
that. We got to be
friendships.
friends with a few of the people on the show, and also we shot in Vancouver.
Canadian money.
Yeah, Canadian money we took away.
Points. Can't get them out of my wallet.
It was a really extraordinary experience to do a show as big as that, with the machine turning as well as it does, as well oiled. We were, yes, the days are long, and yes, you're out in the rain and the wind. But anytime I've done that, I've been in Dublin. So let me tell you, doing it in Vancouver, where you're in heated tents and you're cared for, it was very special. It was a very luxurious time in a big American machine, and that for me personally was an eye-opener, and I loved it because when I did Dracula we shot it in Budapest, so it felt more European in its flavour, but I adored every second of it, and to hang with these crazy little boss all day long was just,
that was great.
By far the most delicious thing, and I'm super grateful, frankly. Sounds a bit cheesy, but it's true.
You know what also I think that I didn't expect, was the incredible fans that we got from the show, and I remember being in the airport with you the night that our first episode aired, like that was like the winter finale, and you and I were like checking our phones, we're like, oh my god, and then we got on like that airport computer, and it was just like the Twitter response was so exciting, because it's been a long time since I've been on something that is like this, like with the rabid, passionate fans. To have that instantaneous result and to see how they're feeling and what was happening, and like responding to this thing where we felt like we were
Yeah, you enter into a new family of fans. Feels like it's more everlasting than it would if you were on a CSI. It's a very different type of show. And it's really great.
Not that we have anything against CSI, since it keeps coming
I know,
up.
right?
Big fans. Love it.
Look, I just did one last year. It's a completely different kind of thing where like that show.
Not that I wouldn't want a job in CSI. I'm just saying. Only 3 of us. We're never getting hired on CSI.
I know, whatever. That's it. No, but I mean, here's the thing. Like all these people who come to conventions, they come to these conventions to see things that they are super passionate about, and it's usually because those stories are told so beautifully and so creatively, and they're just such interesting things to play. It's things that you are not they're born of real life, but they go elsewhere, and I think that is why we keep comparing it to something like a CSI, which is, it is a procedural, and it runs like this, and you as an actor, it's very staid and not as rewarding as to play, because yes, I think the victims get to play more interesting things because you've got different colors, but as the cop you have to play it very even, and here there is no evenness, and that's what the kind of shows that the kind of fans for these shows that happen at conventions, they're these big passionate plays, and that's what's so interesting, and that's why we have like such great fans, and that's why these kinds of things are so wonderful to do. Tying it up in a bow.
All right. That's,
Right?
Yeah.
We're never gonna,
call us. CSI. Hi.
Hello. Well, the question I have is, I love you villains. I love villains like gold. But my question is, I'm wanting to know, how gorgeous is Captain Hook in real life?
He is gorgeous. And I say that as an Irish woman that gets very used to looking at an Irishman's face.
He's got those eyes.
He is and he is funny and stupidly talented.
Musically and
crazily happily married with the most beautiful child. He has
his dog
is like adorable. And him in leather pants, we could go on.
He's like the whole package.
He's great. He's great.
I know. I was like, please don't be a jerk. Please don't be a jerk. Like in my mind, like when I was like going to work, I was like, oh, and he was like funny and disarming and charming and like delicious, and you're like, oh my god, you're amazing.
And in real life, he has 2 hands. for 5 months in Canada, just goofing around and laughing.
Got puppies, and now I'm back in the room.
Just want to let that sit for a second.
That's story. He has a bone now.
Yeah. Might actually be blushing on that one too. Okay. Over there, yes, yeah. Audience question. Let's take an audience question.
Hey, ladies. My question is for Victoria. And because of you, I became a hardcore Cruella fanatic.
Yay!
I follow you on Twitter. You are hysterical. My favorite part was when you were driving erratically. Just like your
hated it.
I loved it. My husband and I loved it. But my question is for you. My favorite new villain, and sadly not alive. After the project's all wrapped, and you look back and see what you've done, is there anything that you choose that you wish had done differently, or did anything fantastically fucking awesome happen that made the cutting room floor?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I have to use my brain. Hang on a second. You know what? I wish I'd had more sleep before I did the scene with this one, but it's the dragon, because I looked at it and I looked, darling, I'm very tired. But did I do anything awesome? No. But I have to say, I hadn't realized how much fun the Cruella lines were until I saw them sort of in context, and I was really grateful for them. I mean, one of my favorite ones was, "The blasted birds, I'll show you what angry looks like." And I kind of really enjoyed those completely left of center lines that they give me. There was a little bit more crazy erratic driving with this one, who was day one I get in the car and we're on a mountain pass and it's snowy and it's stupid o'clock in the morning.
Well, no, let me just back it up. When we were in Steveston, you would not even turn the car around. You made the guy do it because you're like, I don't want to, blah, blah, blah. But once you got comfortable, now.
That's because I'm a professional, darling. Once I know how long the car is, how wide the car is, I can drive it like a bat out of hell, darling.
Exactly. At 5 a.m. honestly.
And so there was a lot more sort of driving and skidding and spinning and her going, "Nah, I'm not driving this car with her," than actually made the cut. But it was,
oh my god, like that reshoot day when we were like out, like not super far because like GVRD had closed. Remember that?
Yes.
And you were like banging it down. I mean, it was like, and that guy was in the back seat, and I was like,
even the focus point, I wanted to cry. Yeah, it was fun. But I wish I could think of something that ended up on the cutting room floor that I can't.
They wish they saw us in that car that night with Lana.
I have that on my phone.
Yeah.
I videoed. What song is that? It was like the
More Than a Woman.
Oh yeah.
More than a woman to me.
We killed that
just
song.
before the train came and
we were trying to stay awake, and it was like late, and we were just dancing in the car and having the best night.
Supposedly a train is coming to take us on. We're like, more than a woman.
In between takes. Like just dancing.
I did them a favor and didn't sing. Was my present to them. It was awesome. But there was a relationship I was trying to build with Gold that unfortunately ended up on the cutting room floor because I decided about one episode in, because these guys were doing all the bunny and I just have a one-liner to go in, and so I sit around and I just, every time I walked in, I'm like, "Hello, darling." And I did an awful lot of subtextual stripping them naked with my eyeballs that Adam and Eddie resolutely refused to put in the cut. So I suppose that's the bit I'd be sad didn't make it, despite all my slutty efforts.
It was great on the day in the room. Every time I looked over at her, she'd be at Robert, and then I'd look at him like, is he getting uncomfortable? Is it just... And it was such a good storyline, but no, we didn't see it.
Crumple was not to be. But I have Sea Devil. And we came up with Mal De Ville, didn't we?
Yes.
Do you feel the magic of being actually part of that Disney tradition, even though it's a different thing, it's a new thing? Is there ever a moment when you were filming or going back to when you first began, where you feel like I'm part of Disney now? This feels kind of like magical, I guess.
Yeah, I think the cons help with that feeling because we don't really have a connection to where what we did goes. You know, we're also sitting alone in our living rooms with our families watching the show. So to kind of feel like, oh, you know, this is kind of cool. Yeah, I'm Maleficent. You know, there was a movie with that amazingly wonderful woman who's pretty cool. So I don't know. I think that you kind of get out of your head a bit and can go, oh yeah.
I remember the makeup artist Andrea who did the Cruella face. She one day about, I don't know, a couple of weeks in filming goes, oh my god, you're on Disney Wikipedia, you're there as Cruella, and I thought, score.
I didn't know that existed.
Yeah, neither did I.
Yeah. I will say this though, both Vic and I have gone to Disneyland since being on the show. Because I don't think I thought about it being like Disney, and then we went to Disneyland, and then like
all in the title.
What? I know. But also because I think it's from Vancouver. If we were shooting it like at, you know.
Yeah, it'd be different.
You know, ABC, it would feel different. And then, but it was all, and then there's the big posters at ABC, and you're like, whoa.
No one recognizes me.
Well, because you don't have the makeup on.
Yeah.
They did at Disneyland, that's what I'm saying. Is that at Disneyland,
Disneyland, Disney, yeah.
That's where I felt the most like, I'm like a Disney character. And like, I have like an Ursela cup. And like, you know, like that's like cool. You know, like that was like, well, wait a minute, wow. You know, like, then that's where all the Disney fans are. So then they're like, blah, 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 blah. And like they went really mad.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's pretty cool. Mike? Cool.
Hi. So my question is, traditionally, there's always been a debate between who is more evil, the evil queen or Maleficent. And I'm personally a fan of Maleficent, but who do you all feel is more evil?
Well, I guess she's... Oh no, we're sitting real close to her.
I'm not evil at all. So I mean, you know, I just had a bad day. Had a couple of days. But I think I don't know.
Yeah, and the evil queen she's had a lot of screen time being evil. You know, so I don't know. You know, now I mean, it just feels like Maleficent is barely turned good for a moment because of her daughter, and you know, Regina is now fairly soft. So, but you know, Lana and I playing all the scenes we got to play together, it felt very fun and even, and we could throw the ball back and forth, and I don't know, we should thumb wrestle for it.
I think
a cage match.
An evil woman should not be messed with regardless. So I'm going to go for both of them because I'm scared slightly. That would be my political answer.
All right. Hi.
My question is for all of you. You all are great. It's like a big queen sandwich up there. Do you find yourself mimicking any of your characters' behavior throughout your normal day? I mean, I know there's the hope that you all will be back soon, like Mal's above the hardware store and Corella's gonna get some apple juice on her, but you know. Do you find yourself like doing anything and being like, oh, that could be my character?
Are you evil in real life?
My ex-husband thinks so. I'm kidding. Really, it's hard to skin puppies in everyday life.
It's I think as a mom, it's those moments when I like unleash for just a second, when something like, and my kids are just, my kids when they go to school, it's like they want to bring everything but their backpack. It's like my youngest one, they have like this thing called Little Live Pets, and there's a bird in a cage and things. And so she doesn't have her water bottle or her lunchbox, but she's got birds. And it was one of those days that I was dressed in a cowgirl outfit because I had to go sell tickets for the Roscoe Rodeo. And so I'm in pigtails with a hat and a plaid shirt and cutoffs and boots. So I already look like an idiot. And my little 4-year-old is holding the bird cage. And I was like, no birds! No birds! I just lost my patience.
like ever. Like, I want you to work on a one-woman show.
Around no birds.
Yes.
But Sarah in a one-woman show tomorrow night.
Oh, well, not one woman.
Well,
There's
you're
other
the only woman I'm looking at. So hang on a second. It is. Where is it?
It's called 5 Truths and a Lie. And it's somewhere at DragonCon.
Oh, somewhere.
This is that thing where
Done.
you don't have your person telling you where to go and what to do with your piece of paper.
Oh, yeah.
So it's here, it's in the map, it's in the booklet, it's in the handbook. 5 Truths and a Lie. And I'm performing, so.
Somewhere at DragonCon.
Somewhere in Atlanta.
No birds in 2 hands.
No birds! Yes. Try to not be Ursela, but.
Would you like to add to that, Kristin or Victoria, or is that?
Yeah, how do you follow up with that? I was just trying to think. I don't think it does, unfortunately, cross over into my life. I wish it did, and I think the thoughts, and I don't say them, but I think them. I had imagined that at the, HP helpline, you know, when your computer breaks somewhere, those poor people in some bunker in the Philippines that they make talk to me and all of us, that they use recordings of my sessions to warn them of what could happen. You know, like sort of in the PTSD center for them, you know, they have my picture up. Because that's when I'm not. Hello, who am I talking to? Kristin. Is your name Kristin? Yes. Can I call you Kristin? No. Oh, what would you like to be called? Trixie. I just get so angry that you have to repeat everything 3 times.
No, I'm going to a dark place just listening to it right now. That's when I want to channel Pam, quite honestly.
Yes. And I do.
Yeah.
Thanks, Al.
I think we broke Victoria.
Oh my God, I'm sweating like a patty out of a big jar. Brilliant.
I'm going to write that, a patty on a drink charge. You know, I was wondering what this pen and paper was here for.
It's for that, yeah.
But I put her Irishes in my phone, and I don't have my phone with
Irish advice.
I miss those.
Irish advice.
She really did write it down, too. Little colloquialism,
yeah. Victoria Smurfit.
We are running out of time, but Victoria, do you want to add to that, or?
I'll speak for Vic, because you used to say that you getting all your evil out at work made you a nicer person, so it didn't bleed over.
It does. It's such a shame I haven't been evil for a few days at work, but it does. I did genuinely find it. When you go to work and you're evil, I'm much easier on the kids, because when they're fecking their food on the floor and I've been evil as all get out all day long, I'm like, that's grand, love, don't worry about it, the dog will get it. But if I've had to play somebody nice all day and the sausage goes flying, and I'm like, pick up the for the dog, it's totally ununderstandable. So, for my children's sake, I stick to evil characters. I think it's better for the family life going forward. That or rogue electricians trying to overcharge you for something completely banal. I do sometimes go terribly British at the door. I think you'll find that just needs a washer, darling. And that does help. A little bit of Cruella.
I don't even want to say this, but we're actually out of time. But I really feel like this needs to be a spin-off show, right?